Something strange is happening in the silver market right now, and most people don't see it yet. On the surface, everything looks calm. Prices move up and down. Charts look normal. Headlines barely mention it. But underneath that calm surface, physical silver is quietly disappearing. Not crashing, not exploding, just draining. And once you see how and where it's vanishing, it becomes very hard to unsee. A few years ago, if you wanted physical silver, you could order it. Wait a few days, maybe a week, and it would show up at your door. Today, that same process feels different. Delays are longer. Selection is thinner. Some products are suddenly unavailable with no explanation. Dealers are careful with their words. Mints are slower. And when people ask why, the answers feel vague, almost rehearsed. That's usually the moment when something important is happening behind the scenes. If you're new here, this is the Gray Ledger. We talk about the quiet movements of money, metals, and systems that rarely make the front page. If that kind of thinking matters to you, consider subscribing now. Because what we're unpacking today isn't about hype or predictions. It's about noticing patterns before they become obvious to everyone else. The physical silver market doesn't break loudly. It tightens, it stretches, it rations itself in small, almost polite ways. Mints announce reduced production schedules. Dealers limit order sizes. Premiums creep higher, not all at once, but slowly enough that most people shrug and move on. And yet, when you zoom out, a pattern begins to form that feels intentional rather than accidental. Start with the mints. Government and private mints alike have been reporting ongoing supply constraints for a long time now. Sometimes it's blamed on labor, sometimes on blank shortages, sometimes on logistics. Each explanation makes sense on its own, but together they paint a picture of a system that no longer has excess capacity. Silver isn't being stockpiled for the future. It's being pulled straight through the system as fast as it arrives. Dealers feel this pressure first. They're the ones fielding calls from customers asking why certain coins are gone, why shipping is delayed, why premiums feel unusually sticky even when spot prices dip. Many dealers won't say shortage out loud. Instead, they'll say things like tight supply or unpredictable availability. Those phrases are doing a lot of work. They're a way of saying something is wrong without causing panic. Then there's the COMEX and the LBMA. These are the warehouses and vault systems that underpin the paper silver market. On paper, they still report large inventories. But when you look closer, you notice something interesting. Registered stocks, the silver actually available for delivery, have been steadily draining, not collapsing overnight, but declining in a way that suggests demand for physical settlement is quietly increasing. Every ounce that leaves those vaults changes the math. Paper contracts assume that very few people will ever ask for real metal. The system works because most participants roll contracts forward or settle in cash. But when more players start asking for delivery, even in small numbers, stress begins to show. Delivery timelines stretch. Eligibility rules tighten. Suddenly, not all silver is equal anymore. The LBMA tells a similar story. Vault reports show ongoing outflows that don't fully reverse. Silver leaves, some enters, but the net trend feels one-directional. And unlike gold, silver is consumed. It's used in electronics, solar panels, medical applications, and industrial processes that don't give it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. That makes every physical ounce more meaningful than a line on a balance sheet. What makes this moment especially interesting is that demand isn't coming from just one direction. Retail investors are still buying coins in bars, quietly stacking, often without saying much about it. Industrial users continue to draw down supply because they have no alternative. And at the same time, trust in paper promises feels thinner than it used to. Not broken, just thinner. Enough that some players want the real thing, just in case. Rationing doesn't always come with an announcement. Sometimes it shows up as order limits. Sometimes as higher minimum purchases. Sometimes as delays that feel just long enough to test your patience. These are pressure valves. They slow demand without admitting there's a problem. Historically, when markets start behaving this way, it's because the system is trying to buy time. It's worth pausing here and asking a simple question. If everything is fine, why does it feel harder to get silver than it should? Why do explanations keep changing? Why do inventories drift lower even as prices fail to reflect urgency? Markets don't lie, but they do speak in whispers long before they shout. Price discovery in silver has always been complicated. Paper volume overwhelms physical volume by orders of magnitude. That means the price you see is often a reflection of leverage and sentiment, not availability. Physical stress can build quietly for years before price finally reacts. When it does, it tends to move faster than people expect. What's happening now doesn't look like a sudden crisis. It looks like erosion, a little less inventory here, a little more delay there, a little more friction in a system that used to feel smooth. Those are the early signals. They don't tell you exactly what will happen next, but they do tell you that something is changing. Some people believe new mining supply will fix everything. Others believe recycling will fill the gap. Those factors matter, but they move slowly. Mines take years to develop. Recycling depends on price incentives that don't exist yet. Meanwhile, demand doesn't wait. It just keeps pulling. There's also a psychological layer to this. Silver has always lived in gold's shadow. It's cheaper, more volatile, and often dismissed as less important. That makes it easy to ignore until it suddenly isn't. Historically, when silver finally moves, it does so when complacency is highest. None of this means there's an immediate shortage tomorrow morning. It means the margin for error is shrinking. Systems that rely on confidence don't fail when they're questioned loudly. They fail when enough people quietly stop believing and start acting differently. As we move forward, pay attention to small details. Watch delivery times. Watch premiums. Watch the language mints and dealers use. These signals matter more than headlines. They tell you what's happening before the story becomes mainstream. I'm curious how this looks from your perspective. Have you noticed longer delays, higher premiums, or products disappearing without explanation? Share what you're seeing in the comments. These individual observations add up to something much bigger when viewed together. If you know someone who's interested in metals, markets, or the hidden mechanics of finance, consider sharing this video with them. These are the kinds of conversations that are easier to have before everyone is forced to have them. Silver doesn't shout when it's under pressure. It whispers, and right now, those whispers are getting harder to ignore. The question isn't whether the system notices. It's who notices first and what they choose to do with that information. That's something worth sitting with. Because once the tone changes, it rarely changes back quietly.